Chapter 71. Image. Black Tortoise appeared. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. It's water. Shen Tian understood. Does it mean I have a natural born water type body? No wonder I'm so good tempered. Guess I'm calm like water. Shen Tian smiled and continued cultivating. He focused on the water lightning of the 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique and started taking in the spirit qi in the air. He swiftly absorbed the spirit stone spirit qi, and then, the golden marking on Shen Tian's forehead started to shine. At the same time, the first essence heavy water in his kidney was also stimulated. The spirit qi Shen Tian absorbed spread quickly all over his body, and a golden lightning bolt burst out of Shen Tian's forehead and mixed with the absorbed spirit qi. The first essence heavy water in his body reacted in the same way too. Soon, these two spirit items merged, and black lightning surrounded Shen Tian. I need more spirit qi, a lot more. Shen Tian took 10,000 spirit stones out of his Archean sea ring and continued cultivating as waves of spirit qi gushed his body. At first, Shen Tian was worried about suffering a qi deviation like before, but he realized he could handle it without issues. It was evident that his green halo allowed him to cultivate normally now. At least, Shen Tian felt that he could master the water divine lightning easily. Having nothing to worry about now, Shen Tian focused on cultivating. The lightning continued to gush out of his forehead, and a silver liquid formed on his skin. Eunuch Gui and Qin Gao felt that the golden and silver rays of light emanated suffocating pressure, and they looked at Shen Tian like he was a god. The quality of the energy was just too potent. The more spirit stones lost their energy and were crushed to dust, the more powerful Shen Tian's aura grew. Shen Tian's 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique and Tinder Sutra, one a qi cultivation technique, and the other a body tempering technique, were the cause of this. Surprisingly, the mixed divine lightning resonated with the first essence heavy water too. Shen Tian felt the two cultivation methods he had were assisting each other. He reached the 4th firmament of body tempering's peak instantly and then broke through the 5th firmament. As for his qi refinement realm, it increased even faster. Qi refinement. 1st firmament. Qi refinement. 2nd firmament. Qi refinement. 3rd firmament. Qi refinement. 4th firmament. Qi refinement. 5th firmament. In just 6 hours, Shen Tian had reached the 5th firmament of qi refinement. If this piece of news were spread, everyone would be shocked. When Shen Tian had cultivated the Tinder Sutra body tempering to the 4th firmament, his physique alone could allow him to face 9th firmament qi refinement cultivators. Now that he had sufficient spirit stones and gotten a boost from the mixed divine lightning and the first essence heavy water, he would improve by leaps and bounds. Eunuch Gui and Qin Gao were shocked by what they saw. What is this? That's depressing. Shouldn't the demon book of Hyuga be the fastest cultivation technique in the eastern wilderness? Why is the prince doing it so easily? Cultivators spend months and years to increase their cultivation levels, yet our prince can just do it easily when he feels like spending some spirit stones. That's so unfair to others. They might even suffer a qi deviation if they were to learn that. Eunuch Gui and Qin Gao were really questioning why they were unable to cultivate with the same speed as Shen Tian. Shen Tian was still cultivating, and his body was covered in black lightning. Pure black lightning. Black portrayed the color of water in the 5 elements. Thus, it was normal for Black Tortoise 9 divine lightning, water, to be black in color. Shen Tian looked like a lightning god that descended to the world. The only problem was that he was too handsome. Most importantly, his looks aside, Shen Tian felt that he was very close to mastering the Black Tortoise 9 divine lightning, water. The 5 heavenly lightning cultivation techniques 10 types of lightning were all mixed divine lightning sub-branches. Shen Tian had already devoured a huge amount of the mixed divine lightning origin back in the Sky Spirit Pavilion, so as he now cultivated on the black tortoise, the divine lightning origin automatically produced many bolts of lightning. As long as Shen Tian had sufficient spirit chi, he could effortlessly use black tortoise 9 divine lightning, water. What was the most difficult problem for other cultivators was so easy for Shen Tian. So that means I can use the 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique as I please if I'm strong enough. Shen Tian was delighted. Ever since he got rid of the black halo, it seemed that only good things were happening to him. He took a deep breath and yelled, "Black tortoise, appear." The 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique could form the elusive avatars of the 5 elements guardians. A cultivator could use them in fights to boost their battle prowess. That was exactly why Zhang Yunxi could summon the white tiger's avatar and was invincible among her peers. Since black tortoise 9 divine lightning, water, was part of the 5 elements lightning, it had its own avatar, that of a black tortoise. It was mainly used for defense and to suppress. In other words, the avatar could protect and reduce the damage Shen Tian received. In addition, it could transform into an indestructible plate armor. This avatar was the strongest in terms of suppressing opponents and sealing all evil fiends. The black tortoise had been sealing fiends since ancient times. Shen Tian felt that he had already mastered the black tortoise 9 divine lightning, water, and all he had to do now was to focus and form the black tortoise's avatar. He gave a loud shout, and the black lightning covering his body vibrated violently. He could feel a mysterious power awakening in his body. This mysterious power was nothing like strength and seemed to resemble the truth of the world. Soon, a black light appeared on Shen Tian's head. It carried incredible force and slowly formed the image of a black creature. As it stabilized itself on Shen Tian's head, its true appearance took form. It was the 9 divine lightning, water's avatar, the black tortoise. Eunuch Gui and Qin Gao were astonished when they saw the image appear above Shen Tian's head. Shen Tian glanced at the bewildered duo and said proudly, "What's wrong? Are you guys admiring my talents now?" "Haha." Eunuch Gui stumbled and said slowly, "Yes. Your Highness is talented in cultivation, indeed. We are all impressed. If concubine Lan were to know about this, she would be very happy." Shen Tian nodded with a smile. However, Qin Gao silently took out a mirror and handed it to Shen Tian. "Your Highness, please take a look for yourself." "What? Did I become more handsome from cultivation?" Shen Tian looked into the mirror. Although nothing much seemed to have changed, when he saw the avatar he had formed, Shen Tian almost fainted. Chapter 72. Why is mind so small? You are listening at novelfull.audio. One could see the image of a palm-sized black tortoise floating above Shen Tian's head. Its body was covered by black lightning, and it looked very majestic. One would surely be intimidated by its oppressive vibes, except that it was simply too small. This was a mini-sized black tortoise, whose head wasn't even as big as a person's thumb. Arg, why is Zhang Yunxi's white tiger image so big, but mine so small? This was unfair. In addition, in Shen Tian's eyes, this black tortoise was just nicely stepping on his Providence halo. It was awkward looking at how his Providence halo's green light was reflected off the black tortoise's body. Where is the intimidating effect of the black tortoise avatar? This looked like a little green-haired bastard. Not to mention how that tortoise's shell seems to be emanating off green light. On top of my head. Shoo. Shen Tian shuddered uncontrollably and kept the projection hurriedly. I am never going to use this black tortoise avatar outside, no way. Even though he knew full well that this skill could suppress his opponent's spirit chi circulation, hence allowing him to gain the upper hand during combats, Shen Tian swore he would not use it. After all, who could bear being ridiculed by their opponents for carrying such an absurd image above their head? Let's try out the other types of divine lightning. With that, Shen Tian started his cultivation of the other lightning skills. The 5 elements both vitalize and restrain one another. Going by this principle, since Shen Tian had completed his cultivation of the Black Tortoise 9 Divine Lightning, Water, skills, he should now move on to the Wood-type lightning skills. This was also mentioned by the instructions, as stated in the 5 Heavenly Lightning Cultivation Techniques Manual. The Wood-type Divine Lightning skills were classified into the Azure Dragon I Divine Lightning, Wood, skills and the Cosmos 2 Divine Lightning, Wood, skills, based on their yin-yang constitutions. Shen Tian did not hesitate anymore. He took another 10,000 spirit stones out of his Archeon sea ring and sat down cross-legged, continuing his cultivation process. Yet this time round, the cultivation process did not seem to proceed as smoothly as his previous attempt. Even though the yin-yang mixed divine lightning origin still supported him, somehow, his progress was rather slow. This was perhaps because now he did not enjoy the complementary support of similar-natured spirit items. Shen Tian estimated that he probably needed to cultivate non-stop for at least 3 days in a row before he could achieve the greater mastery stage of the I Divine Lightning, Wood, skills. Only then would he be able to summon out the Azure Dragon avatar. This top-notch cultivation technique from the Divine Firmament Sacred Ground was hard to master, indeed. In any case, Shen Tian had this inkling that most probably, the I Divine Lightning, Wood, skills would not work as well as the 9 Divine Lightning, Water, skills for him. After all, Shen Tian could feel how the heavy water and Divine Lightning resonated with each other in his body when he was using the 9 Divine Lightning, Water, skills. The I Divine Lightning, Wood, skills could probably never achieve the combined prowess of these 2 items for him, even if he managed to master them. In addition, that Black Tortoise avatar really gave Shen Tian a rude shock. He was contemplating if he was only able to conjure up the Azure Dragon's minimized version too. That scene would probably be too unsightly for words. To be honest, it would still be passable if what he conjured up looked like a green snake. But imagine if the avatar turned out to be like a green worm, and it began wriggling on top of his head. That would just be gross. Arg, my heart cannot take that. Let's just focus on the water-type lightning skills then and try the rest on another day. Shen Tian felt that there was no need to be too greedy. Perhaps it was better to master the 9 Divine Lightning, Water, skills than to start on the I Divine Lightning, Wood, skills. Again, he gathered up the 9 Divine Lightning powers in his body and tried to materialize it. Following which, one could see strips of black lightning forming at Shen Tian's right fingertips. They seemed absolutely harmless and obedient, all ready to carry out his orders. Meanwhile, Shen Tian could also sense some shadow of the first essence heavy water within these strips of lightning. This made the lightning he formed much heavier than the original 9 Divine Lightning. I wonder if this makes the lightning I have here more destructive too. He wrapped his fingers around the lightning with that thought in mind and gradually gathered them into a black lightning ball. This was a battle art recorded in the 5 Heavenly Lightning Cultivation Technique, and it was called the Lightning Fist. Essentially, it just meant gathering up a ball of lightning and then throwing it at one's enemies to strike them down. It was the most basic lightning art that almost all Divine Firmament Sacred Ground formal disciples would know. But of course, depending on the type of lightning used, this basic art's prowess varied too. For example, there were the Leaf Fire Lightning Fist, Gunmetal Lightning Fist, and the Jia Wood Lightning Fist. As for the attack which Shen Tian was about to blast out now was the Rainwater Lightning Fist. Normally, within the 5 elemental lightning fist arts, the Gunmetal Lightning Fist was the one with the greatest penetration ability, while the Leaf Fire Lightning Fist was the most explosive one. Meanwhile, the Rainwater Lightning Fist's purpose would be to numb its opponent's actions, and it did not have great destructive capabilities. As such, Shen Tian wasn't expecting too much from this attack when he blasted it out. Yet when that egg-sized lightning ball hit a boulder, what happened was too shocking to describe. That boulder was about 10 feet in height, and while it had a smooth texture, one could clearly see how hard it was innately. Yet the rainwater lightning fist merged into the boulder seamlessly after touching it. Following which, black lightning started cracking out from within the boulder, and in the next second, the boulder exploded apart, as if it was nothing but a piece of tofu. This scene made Eunuch Gue and Qin Gao draw in sharp breaths. They were absolutely shocked. Qin Gao swallowed hard and commented faintly, "Well. This is so powerful. Imagine that boulder exploding within seconds." Eunuch Gue had surprise written all over his face as he spoke. Considering the extent of destruction, it's almost comparable to an attack dealt out by people at the ninth firmament of Qi refinement. What's more shocking was that it was an attack that Shen Tian had casually summoned. Given the current amount of spirit Qi stored in his body, Shen Tian could at least deal out 5 more of such blows. Should he be able to regenerate more spirit Qi, it would be easy for him to use this battle art 10 times. This was akin to how a normal A student was able to pass any examinations effortlessly, or in the cultivation world's context, imagine a 5th firmament Qi refinement cultivator deflecting a 9th firmament expert cultivator's attack. The 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique can indeed live up to its name of being one of the most superior skill sets among the entire Lightning Imperial Sutra. Greatly satisfied with the battle art's offensive capability, Shen Tian was now ready to witness its defensive capability. Truth be told, the 9 divine lightning, water, arts were famed for their long-lasting effects and were supposed to be focused on defense. Within the 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique, another skill could complement the 9 divine lightning, water, arts. This skill was known as the Black Tortoise Armor, and it was a skill that could form a full-body lightning armor for its wielder. For cautious people like Shen Tian, this was an attractive skill to learn. He walked over to the bits of the boulder and absorbed back some of the first essence heavy water used in the previous lightning fist. After that, Shen Tian turned to Eunuch Gue and said, "Uncle Gue, try hitting me with some attacks." At that, he started his spirit Qi circulation again and conjured up the 9 divine lightning on his right arm. The Black Tortoise Armor was a superior skill, and its difficulty levels and prowess outweighed a normal lightning fist by loads. However, due to unknown reasons, the 9 divine lightning and the first essence heavy water were very obedient within Shen Tian's body. Just merely thinking to gather them up had allowed him to materialize a piece of the Black Tortoise Armor on his arm. But of course, because Shen Tian was not familiar with the skill yet the materialized armor could only vaguely maintain its shape. This indicated that he was just a novice to the skill. That piece of armor was black in color, and there were mysterious Dharma markings engraved all over it. One could clearly see how hard it was. The only thing that made Shen Tian feel resigned was that this armor looked very similar to a tortoise's shell. Aish, let's not think too much about that. After all, in the most crucial of times, this could be a potential life-saver. Who would care if it looked less majestic? Right. Lifting up the Black Tortoise Armor, Shen Tian looked at Eunuch Gue and repeated, "Uncle Gue, try hitting me with all your power." Eunuch Gue nodded and summoned up a gust of crimson spirit Qi at his fist. "Your Highness, please be careful and avoid hurting yourself." After which, Eunuch Gue attacked, hitting Shen Tian's Black Tortoise Armor face on. A dull cracking sound was heard, but nothing seemed to happen to the Black Tortoise Armor. There were no crack marks on it at all. However, black lightning crawled up Eunuch Gue's body from the armor's direction and started engulfing him instead. Boom! The lightning exploded. Eunuch Gue retreated 5 steps falteringly, with shock written all over his face. Such is the Black Tortoise Armor's terrible defensive capabilities. Chapter 73. The Tinder Body Tempering Art vs. the Lightning Emperor Body Tempering Art. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Such great defense prowess. Even Uncle Gue's attacks can't do anything to it. Shen Tian revealed a small smile as he thought happily and processed the extent of the Black Tortoise Armor's defensive capabilities. Although eunuch Gui's cultivation level was peak 7th firmament of Qi refinement, remember that he had cultivated the demon book of Hyuga. As such, all his attacks were comparable to 9th firmament Qi refinement experts' attacks. The fact that the black tortoise armor was able to fend off eunuch Gui's attacks showed that this was an absolutely strong defense skill. Not only that, but it also had severe lightning repel damage effects. If Shen Tian covered himself entirely with the black tortoise armor, he would be the absolute blade male in the cultivation world. Ha! I'd like to see who dares to attack me when I wear this black tortoise armor. I will concede defeat to the person who can force me to take just a single step back. After all, with my repel damage, I will be able to electrocute almost anyone to their deaths. Wait a minute. When looking at the tortoise shell-like armor on his right arm, Shen Tian's eyelids twitched again. If this thing formed a full body armor, then wouldn't I be like Master Rashi, 1, ***. Just imagining that was enough to put off Shen Tian. Forget it, let's not do that. Shen Tian felt very tired. When other people cultivate, the more powerful they get, the flashier they will appear. Yet, why must I deal with all these kinds of tortoise nonsense when I have a chance to master the advanced lightning arts? Upon seeing the unhappy expression on Shen Tian's face, eunuch Gui asked puzzledly, "Your Highness, you have attained such great battle arts. Why are you still sulking?" Shen Tian replied, "Well, it's true that this set of skills has great defensive capabilities, but they look really unsightly." Eunuch Gui couldn't decide if he should laugh or cry at that comment. All cultivators would kill for such majestic skills. But His Highness here was still complaining that the battle arts turned out ugly, despite mastering them in just a few hours. Eunuch Gui chuckled and said, "Your Highness, do not worry. All battle arts are formed with your spirit Qi. Since you do not like the appearance of the black tortoise armor, why not try changing it?" "Oh, that makes sense." Eunuch Gui's advice lifted Shen Tian out of his depression. He was previously too focused on exploring the 9 divine lightning skills until he lost sight of such trivialities. Indeed, all battle arts and skills in the world, no matter how majestic, were created based on the creators, and therefore the wielder's, spirit Qi. Since he had now captured the essence of the black tortoise armor, why couldn't he just optimize its appearance? Shen Tian immediately shifted his gaze to the spirit stones underneath his seat, and he was satisfied to see that not all of them had been used up. Once again, he sat down and closed his eyes to imagine the new design for his very own black tortoise armor. "I want something black, something cool, and it mustn't be too weak in its defensive capabilities." In his mind's eye, Shen Tian kept changing the design of the armor. An idea struck him soon, and he exclaimed in excitement, "Okay, that's it." Shen Tian drew in a deep breath and started going through the 5 heavenly lightning cultivation techniques hand gestures slowly. Under normal circumstances, cultivators didn't need to reenact the battle arts hand gestures when conjuring up attacks. This was because during the time one made all the hand gestures, others could easily strike them down. However, this did not mean that battle arts hand gestures were totally useless. From enacting the hand gestures of a battle artal, cultivators could summon the natural spirit Qi around them to combine forces with their own spirit Qi, and hence make the attacks more powerful. Shen Tian was trying to redesign the black tortoise armor's appearance for himself now, and this move required an extensive amount of spirit Qi. His own reservoir of spirit Qi wouldn't be enough. As such, he had to make use of the battle arts hand gestures to hasten the absorption of spirit Qi from the spirit stones he was sitting on. This was the only way to carry out the process smoothly. As Shen Tian started absorbing all the surrounding spirit Qi he could by making the hand gestures of the spirit Qi gathering art, he felt the reservoir of spirit Qi in his body getting filled up to its brim. Meanwhile, his body was already fully covered in black lightning. The minute he felt that he had gathered enough of the lightning-type spirit Qi, Shen Tian patted the area on his body where his kidneys were located and huffed out. "Black Rhino Armor, combine." Amidst the amazed stares of eunuch Gui and Qin Gao, all the black lightning gathered up and gradually transformed into an ultra-cool black armor, wrapping up Shen Tian's entire body. His chest, back, and shoulders were covered up by thick, black lightning-aligned armor, while 4 silver rhinoceros horns adorned the armor's forehead and shoulder blade areas. Shen Tian had purposely affixed those rhinoceros horns on his armor with the first essence heavy water. In summary, this was a super cool armor. Compared to the tortoise-shell lookalike armor previously, it looked much more majestic. Shen Tian took out a mirror and was satisfied at his own reflection. Now, this is the befitting armor for me. I cannot accept myself becoming Master Roshi, no way. Well, but this 9 divine lightning black rhino armor's powers still need to be tested. Shen Tian couldn't help but feel excited at that thought. However, just when he was about to tell Uncle Gui to attack him, a heavy feeling of exhaustion and emptiness washed over him. The next second, the ultra-cool and thick lightning armor crashed and dissolved into pieces. Shen Tian couldn't even have time to shout, "Black Rhino armor, dismantle." Following which, Shen Tian appeared in front of eunuch Gui and Qin Gao again, wearing his normal attire. There was resignation written all over his eyes, and he looked disappointed. "Aish, that was too fast, I haven't even enjoyed my time in it." However, Qin Gao was full of envy when he commented to Shen Tian, "Your Highness, the armor you designed was amazing." Eunuch Gui nodded and also praised Shen Tian, "Indeed. It was very intimidating and majestic. I bet even real fairies will fall for your highness if you wear it in combat." Hearing all that made Shen Tian let out a sigh of relief secretly. Well, it seems like both of them did not realize I was forced to dismantle the armor, phew. Aish, how frustrating all this was. This set of rainwater black rhino armor indeed looked way better than the black tortoise armor. Unfortunately, all of that required huge amounts of spirit chi. Shen Tian had gone through a rough estimation of his spirit chi reservoir just now. He could maintain a full-bodied black tortoise armor for 15 minutes, but only a full-bodied black rhino armor for less than 3 minutes. There was a difference of almost 5 times the time between which both armors could be maintained. That was way absurd to accept. Just imagine. When your opponents were at their best, you were already over and done with your best. In terms of long-lasting capabilities, this black rhino armor would be overpowered. And Shen Tian suspected that the reason for it using up divine lightning powers so fast was way more complicated than the fact that it required more of them. After all, the Lightning Emperor had created the black tortoise armor based on the Xuanwu beast's physical structure. With the same amount of spirit chi available, the black tortoise-shaped armor would definitely be stronger in defense capabilities. This was mainly due to the fact that the Xuanwu beast was renowned for its defense. Should one require the black rhino armor to reach the same kind of effect, they would need to use much more spirit chi. Such was the price to be paid for trying to look suave, exerting 5 times more of the amount of spirit chi. Normal cultivators wouldn't even have dared to think of using that much spirit chi. Even so, Shen Tian was determined to use the black rhino armor instead of the black tortoise armor. He would never allow himself to carry a tortoise shell on his back. So what if it requires 5 times more spirit chi? I have enough spirit stones to last me. I will only use this skill as my final defensive skill. Or if I am really in a critical situation, I can just switch back to the black tortoise armor. Aish. After completing his cultivation of the 9 divine lightning, water, skills, Shen Tian turned his attention to another heritage skill set. To be honest, Shen Tian had anticipated this skill set even more. It was the Lightning Emperor body tempering art. If one classified the 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique under the divine firmament sacred grounds chi refinement heritage skills, then the Lightning Emperor body tempering art would be its core body tempering heritage skill set. Shen Tian was previously cultivating the Tinder Sutra. He was genuinely curious as to how this body tempering art, which only cost 2 taels of silver, would compare to the divine firmament sacred grounds almighty lightning emperor body tempering art. 1. Hanyu Pinyin. Guei Xianren is the iconic fictional character from the Dragon Ball anime series created by Akira Toriyama. Known for his lechery, this character sports a thick Van Dyke beard, and wears sunglasses, beach clothes, and usually carries a turtle's shell on his back. Chapter 74. I need to send off sixth brother. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Lightning Emperor body tempering art and 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique were 2 skill sets of the Lightning Imperial Sutra. If one said that the 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique was to nurture and store 10 different types of divine lightning in the Dantian, then the Lightning Emperor body tempering art would be to use all the different sorts of lightning powers to train up one's physical body. With the strongest body, one would be able to tackle thousands of enemies just by themselves. Meanwhile, it was not required for all those who cultivated the 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique to also cultivate the Lightning Emperor body tempering art, because strictly speaking, both skill sets did not interfere with each other much. But in any case, normally, those who had cultivated the Lightning Emperor body tempering art would go on to master the 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique. It was rumored that if one could successfully master the Lightning Emperor body tempering art, there would be a huge quality change to their physical constitution. Not only would this skill strengthen their bodies, but they would even be able to acquire the Jia Wood Lightning Spirit Constitution, the Gunmetal Lightning Spirit Constitution, and so on. If one could change their body's nature to such lightning spirit constitutions, then their respective lightning-type skills would be more powerful. An excellent example would be Zhang Yunqi. She had attained the Gunmetal Lightning Spirit Constitution, and hence when she utilized the White Tiger 7 Divine Lightning, metal, skills, it would be more powerful for her than if other people used the same skills. Essentially, the Divine Firmament Sacred Ground's true successor would need to master both chi refinement and body tempering skills. Only by that way would this cultivator become the strongest among their peers, and hence bring back glory for the sacred ground. After going through the Lightning Emperor body tempering arts theory in his mind, Shen Tian slowly digested what he needed to do. I have already mastered the Black Tortoise 9 Divine Lightning, water, skills. Suppose I want to start cultivating the Lightning Emperor body tempering art. In that case, it's best to use the 9 Divine Lightning to nurture my body and start off by trying to attain the Ren Water Black Tortoise Lightning Spirit Constitution. Wait a minute, why is it something to do with the Black Tortoise again? Arg. I mean, I am just trying to be cautious. This Lightning Imperial Sutra, it definitely must have something against me. Although he was feeling rather sorry for himself, Shen Tian decided to go ahead with cultivating this skill set. This was one of the top-notch body tempering arts available, after all. Shen Tian sat on his pile of spirit stones and conjured up the 9 divine lightning powers to temper his body. Strips of black lightning covered Shen Tian's body, and they shimmered under the daylight. After a while, they started merging into Shen Tian's body and refined his muscles, bones, and nerves. To be honest, the Lightning Emperor body tempering art was much more efficient than the Tinder Sutra at tempering bodies. Shen Tian could already feel how fast his body was being strengthened and vitalized by it. Meanwhile, the amount of spirit stones that this process used was only about 1/10 of what was required by the Tinder body tempering art. However, Shen Tian soon discovered something weird happening to his body. Due to unknown reasons, his kidneys felt heavier. In the past, when the first essence heavy water was first absorbed into Shen Tian's kidneys, he had not felt this kind of heaviness. Yet now, Shen Tian felt like there was a heavy load in his kidneys area, and it was very uncomfortable. At the same time, the obedient Black Tortoise 9 Divine Lightning, which covered Shen Tian's body, seemed to be dissociating. The Black 9 Divine Lightning was now gradually separating into Golden Divine Lightning and Silver Heavy Water. In fact, all the spirit items, which Shen Tian stored within his body, seemed to be in unrest. Can it be that I still do not have enough providence, and I am suffering a chi deviation again? At that, Shen Tian immediately stopped the cultivation of the Lightning Emperor body tempering art. Even so, Shen Tian still felt intense aches all over his body. The mixed divine lightning and first essence heavy water were now in conflict, and they were trying to burst out of his body. This made Shen Tian feel as if he might be exploding any time soon. Shen Tian finally panicked. Am I really going to die? At that moment, the Tinder Sutra Shen Tian had cultivated previously was activated. The mixed divine lightning and first essence heavy water immediately calmed down. To have a better idea of what this whole situation felt like this. Two students, who were about to fight each other, saw their teacher coming into the classroom, and they immediately quieted down. One returned to his glabella, while the other went back to his kidneys. Shen Tian was stunned. My God, so they got subdued just like that. But this did not make sense. How could it be that the almighty body tempering art from the divine firmament's sacred ground couldn't compare to the mere Tinder Sutra? When he tried to cultivate the Lightning Emperor body tempering art, both spirit items were like huskies that refused to be trained and were determined to make a huge mess. Yet when they met the Tinder Sutra, they became docile puppies. Shen Tian felt amazed by the Tinder Sutra. Well, this body tempering art is definitely not as simple as I thought. Shen Tian contemplated trying out the Lightning Emperor body tempering art again, but reason got the better of him. After all, it was not guaranteed that both spirit items could be calmed down again, like what happened previously. What if the Tinder Sutra was unable to subdue the mixed divine lightning and first essence heavy water this time round? Then wouldn't he be showing Eunuch Gui and Qin Gao a glamorous scene of shelf explosion? Forget it, I still want to enjoy life. And I definitely don't want to go down and meet Her Majesty Concubine Lan so soon. At that moment, Shen Tian suddenly got an idea. Well, to cultivate the Lightning Emperor body tempering art, I need different kinds of lightning. How about I try to make use of this concept to cultivate the Tinder Sutra too? Maybe I can use it to absorb the first essence heavy water and transform it into lightning powers, then perhaps the cultivating process will be more efficient. Shen Tian had noticed how the mixed divine lightning had an affinity with the Tinder Sutra previously, so this plan might really work. Shen Tian started acting upon his ideas straight away. He activated the 5 heavenly lightning cultivation technique to conjure up some 9 divine lightning. Following which, he started circulating the Tinder Sutra to absorb the divine lightning and used it to nurture his body again. Shen Tian's guess was true. After absorbing that 9 divine lightning, the rate at which the Tinder Sutra nurtured his body became faster. Upon the stimulation of the divine lightning, Shen Tian could feel that there were remarkable improvements to his physical constitution. There was a subtle similarity between what he felt now and the feeling he got when he used the Lightning Emperor body tempering art to nurture his body previously. However, this method used up so much more spirit stones. So, it seems like I need to splurge on spirit stones, no matter what. Shen Tian's mouth twitched as he came to that conclusion. Seems like the only way to become stronger in either the cultivation world or the normal world is to spend money. Shen Tian sighed and finally stopped his cultivation for the day. Time passed fast during cultivation, and the sky had already darkened. After deciding that it was best not to stretch himself too much, Shen Tian stood up and made Eunuch Gui and Qin Gao accompany him for a walk. The trio started strolling leisurely outside of Lan's palace. What made Shen Tian extremely relieved was that he now didn't need to worry about hardcore fans stalking him. However, all the eunuchs and palace maids still tried to avoid him as soon as they saw him coming along their ways. To be honest, Shen Tian really missed this feeling of being ostracized. Shen Tian began his stroll around the palace with the Haredi rosary beads in his hands. Yet when he mindlessly walked to the imperial household department, his attention was caught by a notice on the notice board before its doors. This notice had been posted since 3 days ago, and its main purpose was to announce that there would be a grand banquet held in the palace after 5 days. This banquet was thrown by His Majesty, the King of Fire, to send off the sixth prince, because, after the banquet, Shen Ao would leave for the Grand White Grotto, heaven to seek apprenticeship for cultivation. For a respected sect like the Grand White Grotto, heaven, it was only right that disciples should be the ones to seek them out proactively, after all. Unless a person was a genius, no immortal sects would come and find you. While looking at the notice board, Shen Tian mused, "Sixth brother is leaving." Whenever he thought of his sixth brother, Shen Tian would feel a tinge of guilt. Well, in any case, since the grand banquet would be held for his sixth brother 2 days later, Shen Tian felt he had to send him off formally. Maybe it would be good to give him a present and offer his sincere apologies to him again. Well, it was very likely that Shen Ao probably wouldn't remember anything after taking the forgetting pill. Still, because Shen Tian knew that he had made use of Shen Ao before, he felt he must do something to ease his guilt. No matter what, Shen Ao was still his blood kin. As such, Shen Tian made up his mind. There was a gleam of determination in his eyes as he walked into the Imperial Household Department. Chapter 75. The Heavenly Venerable Azure Lotus of the Divine Firmament Sacred Ground. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Roar. In the vast skies, a white tiger let out a roar of resentment as it exploded into pieces. Following which, a slim figure was strewn out afar. Her face was ghastly white, and tiny threads of blood flowed down from the corners of her mouth. That's right, this person was none other than Zhang Yunxi, who had left the Myriad Spirit Garden previously in a hurry. After leaving a copy of all the 3 heritage skill sets to Shen Tian, Zhang Yunxi had attempted to rush back as quickly as she could. Nonetheless, those with ulterior motives still caught up to her. After that peculiar scene in the sky that fateful night, almost everyone had known that this meant some exotic treasure had been discovered. And it was at that moment people had seen the Divine Firmament Saintess, Zhang Yunxi, hurrying back to her sect, from exactly where the peculiar scene was located. This was too suspicious for words. Hence, those opportunistic people observing from the shadows had decided to take matters into their hands. After all, imagine a treasure that even the Divine Firmament Saintess must hide, just how precious and tempting would that be? As such, all the top-notch expert cultivators who had been roaming around the Country of Fire's vicinity had started pursuing her. Among them, the weakest cultivator would have reached the peak of the Golden Core stage, and all possessed certain special items that could potentially hurt those at the nascent soul stage. After all, the majority of those in pursuit were powerful supremacies who had reached the nascent soul stage. If not for the fact that they possessed such items, how would they dare to pursue the Saintess together with so many nascent soul cultivators? They would just be courting death. She's got something there. Imagine being able to summon out the white tiger avatar. No wonder she's ranked at the 9th position of all the cultivators from the eastern wilderness who have reached Golden Core stage. No matter what, she's just a mere Golden Core cultivator. It's her luck to have met us. All the supremacies levitated arrogantly in the sky while emitting terrible vibes. They had followed Zhang Yunxi relentlessly for 1 full day and night before they were able to finally surround her. To them, no matter how talented she was, Zhang Yunxi was still just a cultivator at the Golden Core Qi refinement stage. She would never be able to resist against the attacks of 10 or more nascent soul cultivators at the same time. Now that they managed to circle her, and they were certain that precious treasure was within their reach, they began announcing in a pretentious manner. Saintess Yunxi, none of us have any intentions of becoming enemies with your Divine Firmament Sacred Ground. We just want to witness the treasure you are hiding from us. As long as you let us take a look at the treasure, we promise that we will not hurt you. You will be able to leave this place unharmed. A supremacy, who was at the peak of the nascent soul stage, hid her figure within black fog to prevent others from identifying her. It was a crime to pursue the Divine Firmament Saintess. No one would dare to commit such a crime openly. Even if one had attained the peak of the nascent soul stage and was just a step away from attaining the soul formation stage, they would only face death if the Divine Firmament Sacred Ground discovered they had tried to harm their Saintess. One must always remember that the divine firmament's sacred ground was still home to several heavenly venerables, who had reached the soul formation stage. While staring at all the greedy nascent soul cultivators who would, in their normal forms, be highly respected seniors, Zhang Yunshi couldn't help but chide in a sarcastic tone. All you scoundrels who were too shameless to show your faces, you are despicable indeed. Imagining those of you who are at the nascent soul stage attacking me, a mere golden core cultivator. Don't any of you dare to come out and fight fairly with me, one-on-one. Zhang Yunshi staggered to stand up straight, and the white tiger clear light armor suit shone brightly despite being smeared with blood. The once-smashed white tiger avatar was summoned out again, lying in wait behind her back. At that moment, Zhang Yunshi looked like a goddess of war, ready to show her all to the cowardly opportunists. Fancy a young girl at the golden core stage saying that. That's plainly ridiculous. Someone spoke out from among all the nascent soul supremacies, and the voice sounded like an old lady. She sneered and commented, "You are too audacious for your own good." Zhang Yunshi looked coldly at the direction of the voice while announcing, "Old hag, it's you then." Following which, the white tiger behind her let out a roar. Her body was transformed into a shaft of silver light as she rushed toward the old lady. Shimmering wisps of her spirit chi burnt at the top of her skin and reflected bright lights off her white tiger clear light armor suit. Zhang Yunshi had activated the mystic arts she had learned at the divine firmament sacred ground, and she was ready to put in her all. At her glabella, a sparkling golden lightning mark appeared, following which, the vibes given off by this saintess blasted out. One hit was all it took for her to break through the black fog. The tiger roared, while other beasts quivered and kept silent in fear. Roar! 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 No, this cannot be. How can a golden core cultivator be so powerful? Before the black fog got blasted apart by the shiny lightning, the old lady who was hiding among it let out a desperate scream. Then, the black fog dissipated into the vast emptiness. Zhang Yunshi started using the sacred ground's mystic arts to tear apart the old lady's body. A shimmering nascent soul shot out of the old lady's body, just when that body was completely destroyed. This was the old lady's soul. She wanted to escape, lie low, and then seek opportunities to possess other people so that she could be reborn in another's body. Yet, how would Zhang Yunshi give her the chance to do so? A strip of purplish-red lightning in the shape of a crimson phoenix burst out from Zhang Yunshi's fingers. That was the Crimson Phoenix 3 divine lightning, and it wrapped itself around the old lady's nascent soul. The old lady's nascent soul let out a piercing cry of pain as it was being burnt in flames. Soon, she succumbed to Zhang Yunshi's prowess in a resentful but deserving fashion. Her soul was being vanquished. During this period of time, none of the experts who circled Zhang Yunshi bothered to help the old lady at all. The reason was simple, all these people weren't from the same force. They were all gleeful to witness Zhang Yunshi exerting herself to a maximum, because that would mean they could now easily overcome any further resistance from her. At this stage, every one of them could turn enemies with the person standing beside them in order to get hold of the esteemed treasure. To them, it was all the better that Zhang Yunshi used her powers to kill one of them, as they would face one less opponent. They even hoped that she could kill more of the other fellows standing there. All these people are contemptible scumbags who are up to no good. Zhang Yunshi let out a cold laugh and fished out a talisman secretly. As the divine firmament sacred ground saintess, she would, of course, have means to save her life. This divine firmament speed movement talisman could allow her to transform into lightning and transport herself to tens of kilometers away in a flash. Now that the old lady was dead, there was finally a small gap within the circle of pursuers. Before anyone could react, Zhang Yunshi crushed the divine firmament speed movement talisman and shot out in a flash of lightning. Arg, stop her. That group of supremacies sensed something wrong, and hurriedly tried to block her tracks. However, since they did not want to reveal their identities, they daren't use their most signature skills. As such, even though several of them simultaneously attacked Zhang Yunxi, none of them managed to stop her. They could only watch anxiously as she escaped from their clutches. At that moment, a huge crack appeared in the vast, empty sky. A gigantic golden figure shot out of the crack and pounced at Zhang Yunxi. It was a humongous golden-winged eagle, and yellowish-golden feathers covered its entire body, making it look like a figure carved out of gold. A cold, sharp light flashed past its irises, and its razor-sharp claws looked deformed as it swooped down from the skies. Both its wings were able to reach almost 10+ meters apart when they were stretched out, such that they seemed to cover the entire sky. One could see that this was a powerful demon king. In the next second, it shot out about tens of kilometers apart and blocked Zhang Yunxi in her path. Others could only catch glimpses of its golden wings in a flurry. What a bunch of good-for-nothings. You can't even catch a young girl at the golden core stage. This fortuitous opportunity that the girl has on her will be mine. The golden-winged eagle actually spoke human words, shocking everyone at the scene. It let out a scoff and reached out for Zhang Yunxi, ripping through the cold air. What? I had to encounter a demon that has reached the soul formation stage, the great golden-winged eagle king now. When looking at the demon king, desperation was written all over Zhang Yunxi's eyes. No matter how talented she was, she could never battle and overcome someone at the soul formation stage. There was too wide a gap between the prowess of a cultivator at the golden core stage and those at the soul formation stage. Is it really destined that I should die here? At that moment, the image of Shen Tian flashed past her mind. It seems like I can only repay you in my next lifetime, young Master Shen. Just when Zhang Yunxi decided to give up and wait for her death, the claws of the great golden-winged eagle were blocked. An azure lotus shot out of the sky and sheltered Zhang Yunxi from the potential attack. This azure lotus was blooming into its 7th stage, and its flower petals were emitting dermic runes. It wrapped Zhang Yunxi within its petals, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze. However sharp the great golden-winged eagle's claws might be, it was useless at ripping the flower apart. A smile of relief was seen on Zhang Yunxi's face, and she shouted, "Martial Uncle Azure Lotus." Chapter 76. Mighty Tinder, Chicken, Catching Palm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Martial Uncle Azure Lotus. Once Zhang Yunxi finished speaking, the black fog started fluctuating vigorously. Obviously, the supremacies hidden within the black fog were restless. It's the 7H stage blue nature lotus variant, azure green sky lotus. Is it possible that it's heavenly venerable azure lotus, Chu Longha? Hurry and retreat. The black fog exploded and dispersed as many supremacies instantly escaped in all directions. They clearly knew what the azure lotus flower in front of them represented. That person could be said to be one of those that no one dared to offend in the whole eastern wilderness. A nascent soul cultivator's speed was formidable, so they traversed tens of thousands of meters in the blink of an eye. However, at that moment, a chuckle echoed from the void. Do you all still think you can escape after daring to make a move on my martial nephew's daughter? The moment his voice died down, the azure lotus flower suddenly released tens of wisps of fire. Their color resembled that of jade and looked extremely pretty as they were crystal clear. They pierced through the air and shot toward the ones covered in the black fog. In the blink of an eye, the azure green wisps of fire caught up with the fog-covered cultivators, exploded, and lit the black fogs on fire, enveloping them in flames. At the same time, shrill screams resounded from within the black fogs. In a split second, they burned the black fogs and the supremacies hiding within into ashes. Afterward, the azure-green flames engulfed their storage rings, flew back, gathered, and gradually formed a human figure. The person that appeared before everyone was an old Taoist priest. He had white hair but a ruddy complexion and wore a Taoist robe with the heavenly 8 trigrams, 1, diagram in the chest area. He had a pleasantly warm smile on his face as if he was really a perfected immortal. Of course, if his hands were not equipped to the brim with storage rings, his public persona of being an extraordinary expert who lived in seclusion could be more realistic. Zhang Yunshi heaved a sigh of relief upon seeing that old Taoist priest. Although he was infamous for being unreliable in the way he did things, one had to acknowledge that his strength was top-tier. He could rival a whole sacred ground on his own. In other words, now that he was there, the divine firmament Draeger pendant was finally safe. The old Taoist priest vanished and instantly appeared beside Zhang Yunshi. Then, he threw a kick. "Shower, don't be afraid. This chicken can't harm you." Boom. The old Taoist priest's kick seemed ordinary, but it was so powerful it was fearsome. When his kick landed on the great golden winged eagle's wings, it sent him flying for thousands of meters away. His golden feathers, which were tainted with reddish gold blood, drifted in the sky. The great golden winged eagle's eyes were filled with astonishment and fear. How is this possible? One had to know that the great golden winged eagle race had three powerful killer weapons. Firstly, it was their sharp claws that could even tear open space. Secondly, it was their sharp beaks that could pierce through anything. Thirdly, their wings were known to be the fastest in the world and had a powerful attacking ability. The feathers on their wings were harder than iron, like peerless blades. When battling, the wings of a great golden winged eagle could be used as swords. There was even a wing-blade technique in the inheritance memories of their race, Golden Wings 9/. A great golden winged eagle's wings were originally invincible killer weapons, but now, they had actually cracked from being kicked by a human cultivator. To the honorable great golden winged eagle race, this was unimaginably humiliating. "Human, you have angered me. You will be the first person in soul formation I kill since I've come to the eastern wilderness." Golden Wings 9/, the first slash through mountains and rivers. The great golden winged eagle flew into the air in a rage, and bright light exploded from his huge body, shining upon hundreds of thousands of meters of land. A huge divine blade, as long as 1,000 meters, appeared and slashed toward the old Taoist priest. Even space was crumbling as the blade passed by. Just as the name stated, it could slash through mountains and rivers. If one could train this strike to the extreme, then it could even destroy mountains and rivers. The old Taoist priest looked at the humongous great golden winged eagle in the sky with a solemn expression. "He's actually the royal race of the southern borders eagle race, great golden winged eagle. Such a splendid ingredient, how should I cook it? It's really troublesome to decide. Forget it, let's capture it first." After taking a deep breath, the old Taoist priest rubbed his hands and folded his sleeves. He stared at the great golden winged eagle in front of him and suddenly stretched out his right hand toward the sky. "Look at my mighty tinder body, tempering art, chicken catching palm." As he finished speaking, the space above the clouds started to distort. The great golden winged eagle's body, which was hundreds of meters long, was actually shrinking rapidly. "No, impossible. Old Taoist priest, you actually know the mighty spatial prowess, lifting heaven hand." The great golden winged eagle was filled with shock and horror. He felt that he was facing an opponent he could not defeat. The old Taoist priest licked his lips as his right hand gradually pushed forward and smirked. "What heaven-lifting palm? It's called chicken catching palm. Golden winged chick, hurry and come to me." After finishing, he suddenly clenched his right hand, and the space in front of him rapidly condensed. The great golden winged eagle was actually compressed to around 1 meter. It looked like it was indeed as big as an ordinary domestic rooster. Although it was sealed in that space, the great golden winged eagle kept struggling. Its voice was extremely sharp. "Nonsense, this is definitely the heaven-lifting palm." The old Taoist priest smirked and said, "You're just a dying chicken, why do you still bother arguing?" Then, the old Taoist priest untied a golden iron rod from his back. He sized up the great golden winged eagle, his expression was that of thinking how this ingredient should be cooked. The great golden winged eagle panicked. You dare to kill me? I'm the son of the third elder of the eagle race. If you kill me, my father will see the end of you. The old Taoist priest was slightly stunned, and his face revealed a worried expression. How old is your father? The great golden winged eagle sneered and said, My father is 5,000 years old, almost going to enter the saint realm. You dare to injure me, aren't you afraid of causing a battle between the eagle race and divine firmament sacred ground? The old Taoist priest seemed to be deep in thoughts. An old 5000.year.old chicken, most likely its meat is not tender anymore. Sigh, looks like even if your father comes to find me, he can only be used to make soup. The great golden winged eagle was stunned, and his golden feathers instantly stood up. He was enraged, almost going crazy with anger. This crazy bastard fanatic. He actually wants to capture my father to make soup too. Before the great golden winged eagle could make a complaint, his anger instantly converted to terror because the old Taoist priest was heading toward him with his rod. The old Taoist priest grabbed the great golden winged eagle and flipped him around. Immediately after, that long golden rod was abruptly stabbed into the great golden winged eagle's bottom. Old Taoist priest. You're quite tender, bear the pain. Great golden winged eagle. No, don't, ah. Ah. A tragic scream could be heard throughout before ending abruptly. The old Taoist priest flipped the grill and used azure green flames to barbecue the eagle. He took a look at the void in the surroundings, then smiled and said, Seeing that all of you did not make a move, each of you, give me 1,000,000 spirit stones. Then, I'll let bygones be bygones and let you go. If not, I'll tear through space and find you myself to take it. Just as he finished speaking, the surrounding space crumbled, and it started raining. The rain of green and crystal clear spirit stones seemed extremely gorgeous. 1. These are the 8 symbols used in Taoist cosmology to represent the fundamental principles of reality, seen as a range of 8 interrelated concepts. Chapter 77. 5,000 Years, Best Enlightening Arts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A smile blossomed on the old Taoist priest's face as he watched the spirit stone rain falling from the void. He gradually stretched out his right hand and slightly bent his 5 fingers, releasing a surging attraction that could not be matched. Those millions of spirit stones were instantly pulled toward the old Taoist priest. The old Taoist priest made a gesture with his hand, and all the spirit stones were kept within his ring. I've earned big time, big time. These are enough for me to use for quite a few months. Thank you so much, everyone. You're welcome to continue stalking the disciples from our sacred ground. As long as you have enough spirit stones, I will definitely not make it difficult for you. However, next time, don't follow my martial niece, since she is a girl. Go stalk Zhang Yunting and Fong Chang, those 2 foolish boys. I don't mind even if you beat them up, said the old Taoist priest with a smile as he used his variant fire, azure green sky flame, to barbecue the great golden winged eagle. That's right. I am grilling someone from Southern Border's eagle race, the Demon King Great Golden Winged Eagle. Those observing, why don't you come out? Aren't you interested in enjoying such a supreme delicacy? There was no reply from the void, only the presence of a few people rapidly escaping in the distance. The old Taoist priest did not stop them. He just smiled as he flipped the great golden winged eagle repeatedly, occasionally sprinkling it with seasonings. Those who had managed to keep their composure and stay hidden away had extraordinary identities. If the old Taoist priest really pulled them all out, then it would be a fascinating scene. It was currently enough to use this demon king, who was in the soul formation stage, to beat the dog before the lion, since those people had just stalked but had not made a move. The 1,000,000 spirit stones were the price of their apology, their compensation. This could be counted as the unspoken rule of the cultivation world. The great golden winged eagle's whole body, which was being grilled by the azure green sky flame, was radiating divine golden light. That was the power of its bloodline and its demon energy being refined into its origin, a great supplement of essence energy. As a demon king in the soul formation stage, each drop of its blood contained an immense amount of energy in aura. If cultivators below the golden core stage just anyhow consumed it, then they would even explode and die. However, if one could really absorb and refine it within, then it would definitely be one of the top nourishing items. The medicinal effects of a piece of the eagle's meat could even be compared to spirit pills and herbs. Little Shower, you were injured quite heavily. Come and eat some chicken meat from Martial Uncle. That old Taoist priest took a look at Zhang Yunxi, who had crossed her legs and was meditating to heal her wounds, and tore a piece of great golden winged eagle's thigh. The eagle's real body could be said to be hundreds of meters long, yet it had been forcibly compressed to the size of a rooster by the old Taoist priest. The eagle's thigh contained the core essence of life origin, so its medicinal effects were definitely top-notch. If it were not for Zhang Yunxi being to Elder Azure Lotus liking, he would not give her any. If it were Zhang Yunting and Fang Chang, they wouldn't even dare to fight with him for food. Their legs would be broken if they tried. Thank you, Martial Uncle. Zhang Yunxi took the chicken thigh and slowly ate it, chewing it carefully. Zhang Yunxi instantly absorbed the essence energy, which the variant flame had already refined. Shortly, Zhang Yunxi could feel that her internal injuries were rapidly recovering. The old Taoist priest asked as he grilled the great golden winged eagle, Little Shower, you informed me that you found the divine firmament Drager pendant, is it true? Even a powerful being such as the old Taoist priest was also extremely nervous when he mentioned the divine firmament Drager pendant, since only by finding the supreme inheritance of the divine firmament sacred ground could they have the opportunity to rise up again. Zhang Yunxi nodded, took out a jade pendant, which had been sealed, and took a deep breath. Martial Uncle, look. The divine firmament Drager pendant is in here. Since Martial Uncle has come, then I'll pass it to you to take care of it. That the old Taoist priest's eyes shone with radiant splendor as he hurriedly refused. How could I do that? You found it. Zhang Yunxi smiled and said, Martial Uncle's cultivation level is much higher and profound. It's safer for you to safeguard it. Since Little Shower is this resolute, then I'll have no choice but to help you. The old Taoist priest patted his chest. Don't worry. No one would be able to snatch it from me. After finishing the whole thigh of the great golden winged eagle, Zhang Yunxi was glowing with golden light. Its energy was so immense that she was unable to absorb all of it, thus producing the light. However, it was completely different for the old Taoist priest. He had devoured the whole great golden winged eagle, even chewing up the bones and swallowing them. In the end, the old Taoist priest was still the same. There was no difference at all, no matter how small. It was as if what he ate was not a demon king in the soul formation stage, but just an ordinary large rooster. After finishing the great golden winged eagle, the old Taoist priest and Zhang Yunxi headed toward the nearest city. The cultivation world was vast and expansive, even just the land which the divine firmament sacred ground controlled was hundreds of millions of kilometers. Thus, if cultivators relied on just flying, then even the legs of those in the soul formation stage would turn soft. Therefore, most cultivators would choose to use teleportation circles for long-distance traveling. There was such a teleportation circle in the city near the old Taoist priest and Zhang Yunxi. They could get to the largest cultivators trading city nearby through this teleportation circle. They could then use the large long-distance teleportation circle to directly teleport near the divine firmament sacred ground. After using the teleportation circle twice, the old Taoist priest and Zhang Yunxi finally arrived within Divine Firmament City at dusk. Divine Firmament City was a super large-scale cultivators trading city that was under the Divine Firmament sacred ground. As sacred grounds were all within small worlds that were independently created, no teleportation circle could directly teleport someone into the sect. After leaving Divine Firmament City, the two of them rushed toward the Divine Firmament small world entrance, the Divine Firmament Peak. That was the only entrance to the Divine Firmament sacred ground, so it was guarded extremely securely. The two of them took out their identity tokens and verified their identities. Then, they passed through the spatial tunnel, entering the divine firmament's small world. As the sacred ground's headquarters, the spirit chi was extremely abundant within the divine firmament's small world. Even in the outer boundary, the density of spirit chi was more than a few times that of the country of fire, not to mention the core areas, the spirit mountains where the core disciples trained. With the nourishment of spirit chi, exotic flowers, and rare herbs that were difficult to find outside were everywhere. It was an extremely beautiful scene. If one trained under such an environment, even without any spirit stone's aid, one would not necessarily be weaker than normal cultivators in the outside world. The old Taoist priest looked at the surrounding spirit mountains in envy, and then he touched the Draeger pendant. He walked toward the sacred leader's palace on the main mountain with Zhang Yunxi, with him in front. The doors of the sacred leader's palace opened with a loud sound. The whole palace was made of black lightning crystals, meaning it was a supreme-grade divine weapon by itself. If necessary, it could totally turn into the most powerful thunder. Attribute sacred soldier, intimidating in killing enemies. The purple palace was supported by 10 pillars that were carved with mythological beasts. Different colors of divine lightning flashed on the 10 pillars, and their radiance was incomparable. That was the yin, yang 5 elements, the 10 types of the powerful lightning essence. Right in the center of the palace was a throne. There was a man sitting on the throne upright. His body's surface was surrounded by lightning, and he shone so brightly he could not be seen directly. There was a thick heavenly aura sinking and emerging around him, enveloping him within it as if it was a mist. He was indeed sitting in front of them, but it was as if he did not belong to this world. He was a being that was detached beyond the void, all kinds of karma did not affect him. That person was the sacred leader of the divine firmament, Long Yuan. He was known to be the best in lightning arts in the whole of the eastern wilderness in the past 5,000 years. At the same time, he was also the mentor of Fang Chang, the first senior brother of the divine firmament sacred ground, and the father of Zhang Yunxi and Zhang Yunting. The black dragon, white tiger, and golden qilin of the divine firmament sacred ground were all his disciples. Chapter 78. Come, bring the map. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. Upon seeing her father, Zhang Yunxi's eyes betrayed her respect for him. She had grown up listening to her father's stories, so she admired this legendary man. Zhang Yunxi respectfully bowed. Have successfully completed my mission and brought back the sacred item. The divine firmament sacred leader gradually nodded. Good job. His voice was emotionless. Zhang Yunxi hesitated for a moment before she said, "Esteemed father, when this divine firmament Draeger pendant appeared, the divine lightning origin exploded and assimilated into a few fated people. If they train in our sect lightning techniques, they will definitely be able to have high accomplishments. I think that we should send our people to guide them into the sacred ground and train. Divine firmament sacred leader kept silent for a while, then replied calmly, "Omitted. Although his voice was not cold, it was still emotionless. It was as if the person sitting there was not a living person but a robot." Zhang Yunxi stared at the divine firmament sacred leader and sighed after a long time. "Henil, take my leave. The divine firmament sacred leader did not reply, so Zhang Yunxi turned and left. Then, the doors of the sacred leader palace closed once again. From the beginning till the end, the divine firmament sacred leader had not shown even a shred of concern toward his daughter. The old Taoist priest tilted his head as he looked at the divine firmament sacred leader. OUE secretly practiced that evil technique again. The divine firmament sacred leader looked at the old Taoist priest. "Your brother, you know that it is not an evil technique. The old Taoist priest pouted. OUE severing all your emotions and desires. Is it still not counted as an evil technique? The divine firmament sacred leader said calmly, "Your brother, you overly stubborn. The old Taoist priest snorted. Us to complete decalamity. The one who is being stubborn is you. Divine Firmament Sacred Leader asked. Unxi said that the Divine Firmament Drager pendant is in your hands. The old Taoist priest nodded. Hy. Your daughter asked me to safeguard it. The Divine Firmament Sacred Leader said, thank you, senior brother. You can give the jade pendant to me now. The old Taoist priest said righteously, oh, I promised little Zaire that no one could snatch it away from me. Divine Firmament Sacred Leader. The lightning surrounding the Divine Firmament Sacred Leader was cackling while the rising and sinking thick heavenly aura was surging non-stop. It was obvious that his emotion had fluctuated. Your brother, the Drager pendant is the token of a sacred leader. The old Taoist priest smiled and said, oh what? You're not the first sacred leader without the token. Divine Firmament Sacred Leader replied, Drager pendant is related to the rise and fall of our sect. Senior brother, please stop joking. The old Taoist priest laughed in amusement. My junior brother, you finally become anxious. Alright, I can give you the Divine Firmament Drager pendant. However, you have to promise me a few conditions. The Divine Firmament Sacred Leader said coldly, your brother, please speak straightforwardly. The old Taoist priest sized up the sacred leader. Awe for me first, then. The lighting jumping on the Divine Firmament Sacred Leader body became even more violent, and the heavenly aura was also falling apart. His eyes were as pressing as the lightning, staring daggers at the old Taoist priest. Your brother, please don't joke around. The old Taoist priest twitched his lips. Ren training the Heavenly Tao Sutra to complete decalamity. Iyer has already brought back the Drager pendant. Why haven't you disposed of that technique? What are you waiting for? The Divine Firmament Sacred Leader replied coldly, oh you don't understand, senior brother. I have already seen the new realm. Difficult to reach the top by following the Dharmic Tao. I wish to walk a new Tao. The Heavenly Tao Sutra is crucial, so it's impossible for me to give it up. The old Taoist priest pouted. Hen, go and walk your new Tao. To prevent you from suffering a chi deviation, it'll help you keep this pendant. In case you refuse to acknowledge your relatives and friends, then this pendant will be lost once again. After finishing, the old Taoist priest turned and walked toward the Sacred Leader Palace exit. In that instant, the whole Sacred Leader Palace was filled with lightning, and the heavenly aura was surging like a tsunami. Just as the old Taoist priest had stepped half a foot outside the Sacred Leader Palace, a strange peal of laughter could be heard from the mist. Ehehehe. That right, the Divine Firmament Sacred Leader was laughing. The old Taoist priest's lips were slightly twitching. He was holding back so badly his lips were slanted. The Divine Firmament Sacred Leader said coldly, haven't laughed in more than 100 years, so I'm not used to it. Senior brother, please don't laugh at me. I have already done as senior brother said, so you can give me the pendant now. The old Taoist priest replied, only the first condition, there are 3 more. Divine Firmament Sacred Leader replied coldly, your brother, please speak straight to the point. The old Taoist priest counted with his fingers. First condition. Since I saved your daughter, you'll need to receive remuneration. According to my price in the black market, each time I make a move costs 1 million spirit stones. Being that it was to save little Zaire, it'll give you a 12% discount. Also, your daughter even ate a great golden winged eagle thigh. After the discount, the remuneration must be at least 500,000 spirit stones. Don't you think that you can just refuse to acknowledge this? The Divine Firmament Sacred Leader said coldly, 500 spirit crystals. Senior brother, please state your second condition. The old Taoist priest chuckled before saying, your brother, as you can see, I am already in the soul formation stage, but I don't have a spirit mountain. Could you let me pick a spirit mountain to train? His is impossible, definitely impossible. The divine firmament sacred leader interrupted the old Taoist priest, the heavenly aura around him surging vigorously. The so-called spirit mountain referred to a mountain peak that had bred a spirit stone vein. Within the divine firmament small world, there were a total of 36 spirit mountains. As long as one cultivation level reached the soul formation stage, they could become the leader of a spirit mountain and accept disciples. Originally, Elder Azure Lotus, Chu Longha, also had his own spirit mountain, and its quality was excellent. The problem was that this idiot was so obsessed with training the Tinder Sutra when he was in seclusion that he had almost sucked the spirit stone vein dry. Afterward, the spirit medicines, spirit herbs, and spiritual flowers on the spirit mountain directly withered, and it almost became a barren mountain. According to a spirit or appraiser, this spirit stone vein could only recover its vitality after at least 1,000 years. One had to know that spirit stone vines were cultivation sects. Foundations. Only those cultivation sects with one or more spirit stone vinaya were qualified to be called a blessed land. Only those with 3 or more spirit stone veins were qualified to be called a grotto, heaven. Only those with 10 or more spirit stone veins were qualified to be called a sacred ground. Although this was just one of the deciding factors, it was still enough to show the importance of a spirit stone vein. Chu Longha had already damaged such an important strategic resource, and now, he actually wanted a second one. How could the divine firmament sacred leader agree? The divine firmament sacred leader said helplessly, "Your brother, state your third condition." The old Taoist priest smirked and said, Third condition is very simple. Our sect ancestors had promised that the fated one who finds the Drager pendant and completes the Lightning Imperial Sutra could become the saint of our sacred ground. If he is willing, he can even marry the saintess. Your brother, you have both a son and daughter, while even that long-faced Fong Chang is your disciple. As such, you can fight with me for that fated person. He has to become my apprentice. Also, his monthly saint's salary, I will help him collect it. That right, when he marries your daughter, you can ask for a betrothal gift. Basically just these 3 requests. It not too much, right? The sacred leader reluctant voice echoed from within the fog. Like heavenly aura. Oh, you want to be the master of our sect saint? At that moment, the bright lightning was cackling, and the heavenly aura stopped surging. Your brother, bring our spirit mountains. Map over. Which spirit mountain did you take a liking to? Chapter 79. He is the son of Providence. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios, Senior Brother, bring our spirit mountains. Map over. The sacred leader's words shocked the old Taoist priest. What? You'd rather give me a spirit mountain than let me have a disciple? He said helplessly, seriously. Junior brother, why are you doing this to me? I just want to have a disciple. The sacred leader replied emotionlessly, Senior brother, although I have foregone all the emotions and feelings of a normal person, my wisdom is still here. This man is very special. The sacred leader said calmly, I heard from Yinshi that this Master Celestial Outyin is very mystical. He's still a teenager, but he has an amazing skill. The old Taoist priest snorted. So what? What makes him so special? The sacred leader continued. See, that's the reason why I've foregone all my emotions. These human feelings will prevent you from thinking and blind you when the truth is just right before you. When all these feelings are gone, I can be the exalted one and be more efficient in solving problems and cultivation. The old Taoist priest shook his head and said, Come on, what's your point? Still haven't figured it out. I really wonder if you are intellectually sound sometimes. The old Taoist priest clenched his fist. Are you trying to pick a fight? You can't beat me in a fight, forget it. The old Taoist priest was rendered speechless. He took out the divine firmament Drager pendant slowly and threatened, Come on, just spit it out already. Also, I know you are saying that I'm stupid and weak. I'll break these pendants if you make me angry. Senior brother, relax. The sacred leader had no choice but to explain, Senior brother, do you know any spirit or appraiser below the age of 20? The old Taoist priest scoffed. Spirit or appraiser below the age of 20? Not possible. Spirit or appraisers were required to have the power of at least nascent soul stage on top of the sophisticated spirit technique they had to learn. It was the requirement of the spirit technique's more advanced skills. It would be impossible for young people to cultivate and learn the techniques at the same time with such a learning rate. In other words, learning the spirit technique was way harder than cultivation. In fact, a spirit or appraiser below the age of 20 was rarer than a supremacy who mastered both body tempering and chi refinement at the same age. Thus, the entire eastern wilderness had never had such a person before. As far as the old Taoist priest was aware, the youngest spirit or appraiser was 36 years old when he had reached nascent soul and became a spirit or appraiser. The sacred leader smiled. See, you think it's impossible too, right? However, Yinshi told me that this Master Celestial Shen is not even 20 years old. The old Taoist priest was shocked and asked cautiously, so you are saying? The sacred leader slowly stood up and walked down the throne. He is very special. Although cultivators can maintain their young looks, it's hard to change their aura. Yinshi knows how to read people's aura, and guess what? This boy is only 16.17 years old. The sacred leader added, Senior brother, do you think a boy at such a young age could really master an aura assessing skill? The old Taoist priest laughed. What if he is a genius like me? The sacred leader shook his head and said, Senior brother, you should study more. It is not possible for a 16-year-old boy to be a spirit or appraiser. However, according to Yunshi, this boy had been very active in the myriad spirit garden these few days. He had been choosing more than 100 ores, with a 100% success rate. What's more important, he is the one who found the 7-treasure fairy calabash seed and the divine firmament drager pendant. Such treasures usually show only two behaviors when they have been hidden away for too long. Their ores will either be extremely attractive or look like a useless normal stone. Yet, this boy found these two treasures among a bunch of low-grade spirit ores. That is extremely hard. Not even a real spirit or appraiser could do that. The old Taoist priest was shocked. At first, he had only been under the impression that Shen Tian knew how to assess ores. If Shen Tian became his disciple, he could make use of him as he pleased. He had no idea that his junior brother had so much insight. The old Taoist priest then asked, so, what do you think about him? The sacred leader replied, there are only two possibilities. First, this Master Celestial is a fraud, merely an actor staged to scam the customers. He only managed to find the calabash and the pendants by luck. The old Taoist priest asked, so you mean this guy is a liar and cannot be our saint? The sacred leader shook his head. Nope, it is exactly the opposite. Let's assume this guy is a liar, and he prepared all the spirit ores beforehand. Why would such treasures appear in their spirit ores? The old Taoist priest was stunned for a moment before replying, they prepared these treasures too. The sacred leader almost choked on his own saliva after hearing that comment. He looked at his junior brother as though he was mentally ill. If you had a spirit or shop, would you give away the 7-treasure fairy calabash and the divine firmament drager pendant to attract more customers? The old Taoist priest immediately realized how stupid the answer was, and his face blushed. Could it just be a coincidence? The sacred leader shook his head again. Senior brother, have you stopped using your brain after you started to follow the body tempering path? Think about it. He prepared some normal spirit ores and then found two such treasures. What does this show? It means that this boy is blessed with Providence. Do you remember how that saint from the Purple Mansion found the Nirvana Sutra? The old Taoist priest started to recall. That's right. He just entered the shop and chose 3 spirit ores without even looking at them. The first one was a golden fruit, and the second was Heaven's halberd. As for the last one, it was the long-lost Nirvana Sutra. Many spirit or appraisers were present at that time and suffered a chi deviation because they were driven mad. The old Taoist priest was shocked and asked, "So, junior brother, you mean?" Finally, the sacred leader nodded. There is only one truth. This boy is the same as the Purple Mansion Saint. He is destined to become this era's son of Providence. Chapter 80. Shantian's Armors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sacred leader's speculation seemed to persuade the old Taoist priest. There was no other explanation for a young boy to find 2 treasures in one of myriad spirit gardens' small spirit or shops. Providence must be shining upon him. The old Taoist priest asked, "Junior brother, what about the second possibility?" "What is that?" The sacred leader paced around the hall, and he became very serious and excited at the same time. He took a deep breath and said, "That is, this boy is no liar." The old Taoist priest was stunned. "You mean he is actually a spirit or appraiser?" The sacred leader shook his head and said, "No, that's not what I meant. I mean, his providence could be much higher than we thought. If he did not know anything about assessing ores but managed to find good items in an ore he randomly chose, he could be even better than Purple Mansion Saint. Maybe the title, Son of Providence, is not accurate anymore. He should be called the Son of Heavenly Tao. The old Taoist priest was in disbelief. Seriously? That's too exaggerating, right? How could Providence bless someone to such an extent? That does not make any sense. The sacred leader shook his head. That's why I asked you to study more, senior brother. Never use your own criteria to judge someone blessed by Providence. Have you forgotten how those spirit or appraisers suffered chi deviation? I have a list of files here. Senior brother, you can take a look. The sacred leader transmitted a message to the old Taoist priest. This is the record of all the people with great providence in the eastern wilderness for the past 10,000 years. See. Someone fell off a cliff but received an ancient Tharch heritage. Some were kidnapped by the great demon but managed to have a one-night stand with it when it was improving its bloodline. Some picked up a normal ring, but it turned out that there was a imperial broken soul in it. They all have something in common, and that is their life is always smooth sailing. As long as they are around, they will obtain all the big fortuitous opportunities. You want to seize that opportunity before they do just because you think you are stronger. Nah, most likely, you will be killed in the end. Do you think any of these make sense to you? The sacred leader continued to walk around the hall. See, told you to read more books. After you read through the lives of 1,000 people with great providence, you will realize nothing is impossible in this world. Some people are born to be favored by the world. Well, that saint from the Purple Mansion was just way too much. However, I don't think he's the only one with such providence. I have a feeling that this boy is a mighty adversary of his. SSS. After hearing what the sacred leader said, the old Taoist priest was surprised. No wonder you are the sacred leader when I'm your senior brother. You are indeed smarter than me. But you did not even meet him yet, why are you so sure that he's a son of Providence? The old Taoist priest said helplessly, "Junior brother, what if you are wrong?" The lightning floating around the sacred leader was agitated for a moment before the sacred leader replied, "Nonsense. I have already cut off all my emotions and have the wisdom of this world. How could I be wrong?" The old Taoist priest scoffed, feeling that his junior brother was not so reliable. He had cultivated the Heavenly Tao Sutra just to repair the lost parts of decalamity. Now, the adverse side effect was stuck with him forever. He had to be triggered here and there to maintain the last bit of human emotion. The old Taoist priest said helplessly, "It's okay if it's wrong. According to our teaching, he could still become our saint. In addition, he has the right to marry the saintess. That's your own daughter. Are you willing to let her go just like that?" The sacred leader stood still and looked into empty space. After a while, he said in a calm voice, "If they end up together, Yinshi will not suffer in the future." The old Taoist priest laughed. "What about Fong Chang? I feel that he would do anything to stop that from happening." The sacred leader replied calmly again, "I will give him a reminder for his own good." The old Taoist priest suddenly thought of something and asked, "Wait a minute. Since this boy is so important, why can't I teach him?" The sacred leader said, "Since he is so important, I cannot let you teach him. He has the power to bring us to greater heights, just like the Purple Mansion's sacred ground." The old Taoist priest asked, "Are you seriously going to be so pragmatic? How about this, senior brother? Hand me the divine firmament Draeger pendant, then accompany Yunshi to the country of fire and bring this boy back. We will let him choose who he wants to learn from." "Fair enough." The old Taoist priest thought for a moment and found nothing wrong with the plan. "I'll go to the country of fire, make friends with this boy, and lure him with incentives. I'll make him my unofficial disciple first and find an excuse to ask him to turn down my junior brother. I'm cultivating on the Tinder Sutra, and I'm already having a hard time earning spirit stones these few days. When I make this boy my disciple, I can benefit from his providence too. By that time, I will not have to worry about money and treasures anymore." The old Taoist priest was thrilled by his ingenious thoughts and started making his way. "Ho ho ho, son of heavenly Tao, get ready to be my disciple. I'll keep these pendants for now. I'll make a copy of the contents for you." The old Taoist priest disappeared at the door of the hall. 3 golden rays soon shot out of the door and entered the sacred leader's body. The sacred leader looked at the door and shook his head. "Senior brother, you are still so immature. Yunshi is my daughter, why would Shen Tian choose you as his master?" The sacred leader walked out of the door and stared in empty space. Finally, the forbidden chapter has been recovered. The divine firmament sacred ground will be great again. Land's palace, country of fire. Shen Tian had no idea that divine firmament's sacred leader was certain that he was the son of Providence. He was still trying his best to improve his black tortoise armor. After a few hours, Shen Tian felt that his time was well spent. He had upgraded the black rhino armor based on the structure of the black tortoise armor. Finally, the black rhino armor's divine lightning guard, which could not even last 3 minutes, could now be maintained for 3.5 minutes. At least, black tortoise armor could still last longer now. Shen Tian decided he would use different armors depending on the strength of the opponents. If the opponent is only average, I'll use black rhino armor and show off my skills while I can tank some damage. If they are strong, I'll use black tortoise armor like blade mail and kite the opponent with 9 divine lightning, water. Then, I'll summon eunuch Gui, Qin Gao, and Jiu'er to fight together. If the opponent is extremely strong, fret not. I still have my sword master token. I will make a destructive blow using the power of money. Steady. After making plans on various strategies, Shen Tian was not so busy in the next few days. He did not want to settle any more troublesome stuff and only desired to quietly cultivate in Land's palace. When he was tired, he would walk around the palace with the Haredi rosary beads and enjoy the peaceful life. 2 days flew past quickly with such a relaxing lifestyle. It was time to send off the 6th prince.